Hey all, the Dread Duck here again. So I wanted to do a video to address some of the questions that I've received from my previous videos, specifically regarding Bicolline. Um, at this point, many of us take so much of these questions for granted because we've been there before that it's super useful to receive these and kind of be reminded of what we've forgotten as a new player. Also, I want to be clear, when I refer to Bico or Bicolline, I am specifically in this case referring to the Grand Bataille, the 7-day event. So the first question I got was about cultural do's and don'ts. Things that are okay or not okay in this event. So at the risk of being culturally insensitive myself, I'm speaking primarily to Americans here, Anglophone Americans. It's Canada, eh? So these are honestly some of the kindest people you're likely to ever meet in your life. Just don't go into it being the stereotypical ugly American, and you're going to be fine. To take things a step further, this is Quebec, French Canada.
There's no Canada like French Canada. It's the best Canada in the land. The other Canada is only Canada. If you live here for a day, you'll understand.
They have a very strong history with very strong feelings about their cultural linguistic history. So that's really my way of saying the Quebecois language is very important to them. And Quebecois is a distinct language from French, but that's getting down into the weeds, which I'm not going to do. If you speak French, you're going to do great. If you don't speak French, you're going to be good too. However, I do strongly encourage everyone to at least learn a little bit. Make an attempt. Learn the greetings. Learn how to say hello. Learn how to say I don't speak French. Learn how to say thank you, you're welcome, and I'm sorry. I'm not going to teach you to do that because my French accent is terrible, and there are some great resources on YouTube that will help you with this if you're not interested in investing in something like Duolingo or Rosetta Stone. But if you make an effort, it will be recognized and rewarded. So another thing to be aware of is something called decorum. For those who are unfamiliar with it, this is a term that you will hear often at Bicolline. In this case, it refers to something that would not look out of place in a high fantasy setting. So something that is decorum is what I'm wearing right now. A wristwatch or a wristband, something like that, is non-decorum. But a leather bracer that conceals a wristwatch would be completely indecorum. So being indecorum refers to wearing garb that looks in place or would not look out of place in a high fantasy setting all the time. This is very heavily stressed at Bico, and it's super important to maintain the high level of immersion that Bicolline provides. There are two notable exceptions for that. One is combat. Combat sturdy boots with ankle support, absolute necessity. So because of that, things like actual combat boots are kind of a forgivable sin. Something that will protect your feet and ankles in uneven terrain when you're not paying attention to where you're stepping is very, very important. Likewise, the combat system can also present potential hazards to eyesight, so wearing of eye protection is allowed. And frankly, I encourage at least some sort of eye protection, even if it's just a helmet with a brow ridge or a nasal. That'll at least keep branches from out of your eyeballs. And of course, eyeglasses to correct vision are always acceptable. So another question is, what's the camping like? What's overnighting at Bicolline like? So for the vast majority of people, your first experience at Bicolline is going to be tent camping. This is a 7-day event. So during that 7 days, I can guarantee you it's going to be hot, it's going to be cold, and it's going to rain. You aren't going to have access to electricity or cell service or access to the magical interwebs. So go there with this expectation. Now, if all that sounds unpleasant to you, let me point out that you're going to be in the great outdoors in one of the most beautiful parts of the world. And if you have any appreciation for nature at all, it's going to be worthwhile. Plus, honestly, the chance to unplug, to get away from that day-to-day electronic leash that binds us all, it's a mind cleanser. It really is good. So when you're packing for Bico, plan to change your socks often. As I said, it's gonna rain. Your feet are gonna get wet. Your feet are gonna sweat, and your feet are gonna get gross. And that's the one thing that you need to bring plenty of for a 7-day event. Everything else, plan around potentially reusing clothing through layering. So in the daytime, you're probably gonna go very minimalist. You're gonna want a light tunic or shirt, just something, to keep your body covered. Some people are not going to wear that much. And something to keep the sun off your head, especially if you're follically challenged like myself. The single most important investment you can make is in a set of comfortable decorum shoes. You're going to do a lot of walking. For many of you, it'll be the most walking you'll do all year. And for some of you, it might be the most walking you have ever done. Find shoes that are decorum and make sure that those shoes are well broken in. Do not take new boots or shoes to Bico and wear them for the first time there. I can absolutely tell you, without a doubt, that you will regret doing so. My lady wife made that mistake her first year. She broke down and she invested in a set of custom Son of Sandalar elven boots. Absolutely gorgeous, amazing boots. She did not wear them until the very first day at Bicolline, combat training. She shredded her feet. She was walking on open blisters for the entire week. That is not a good experience. Do not do that. It has the potential to ruin your entire Bico experience. Fortunately for her, combat is secondary. Her Bico experience is all about sitting around with friends and telling stories and just being social. So it works out for her, but it's still a lot of walking. You will regret it. So break in your boots or shoes well in advance. So 7 days, rustic camping, no indoor plumbing. Am I going to come out of this looking like I just crawled out of a hobo's butthole? I mean, if that's your thing, you do you. Good, do it. That's cool. Don't do that. I mean, you can if that's what you're going for, but absolutely not. There are pay-to-use shower facilities. There's, they have all the convenience of modern indoor plumbing, but there is a limited number of them. So there's 3,000 people and like 4 showers for the guys. So plan accordingly. And there is this marvelous icy cold river that you can wash in. However, be certain that you bring a paraben-free soap, be environmentally conscious, and don't put anything in the river that didn't just come out of your nasty body. But anyway, no, wait, that still came out wrong. So, next question. What should new players expect? A lot. That's probably an entire episode. The most important thing going in is to have reasonable expectations about what you're going to be able to participate in. By this, I mean you're not going to be able to do everything. It's 7 days. There's going to be so much going on. You're going to need to prioritize and tailor your own experience. The best way to do this on day one, find a veteran who can show you where the message boards are, what the scheduled events for that week are, and then take a look at those events and try to figure out what is an absolute, I must go to this, and I want to go to this, and there's no way I can make it to this. This is less important to me. Categorize the things, prioritize, and make a plan. There's going to be 3 major battles and 3 skirmishes. There's troll ball concerts, competitions, parties, rituals, weddings, monster fights, all sorts of things. You cannot do it all. So you need to decide right up front, what your personal experience is going to be and plan around it. You can always change your plans if you find that you've got free time in the middle of the day or in the middle of the night, or if you find yourself overcommitted, you can pick one or the other. There's always next year. The final question that I got is, what can I expect going as an independent, meaning without a guild? I've been doing a lot of talking about guilds. So I've given this question a lot of thought because I don't want to oversell the idea that guilds are the be-all and end-all and you have to be in a guild. But ultimately, Bicolline is a team sport. And what I mean by that is you're really going to need to find a group of like-minded individuals, people who have looked at the events, prioritized, and made decisions about what kind of experience they want to have that kind of mirrors your own. That does not necessarily need to take the form of a guild. Guilds, honestly, are really a form of a shortcut to that. But they're by no means the only way to have that experience. So when it comes to things like tournaments, there's several individual competitions, things like the strongman, strongwoman, archery, things like that. But most of the events at Bicolline are team-oriented. And by team, I'm referring to something like either a troll ball team or an army as a team. Ultimately, you have to pick a side. You have to pick who you want to participate with. Or you can do it from day to day. You can go onto the battlefield for one side one day, go onto the battlefield for the other side the next day. If you are an independent and you want to do that, nobody's going to complain if you want to join their side. I wouldn't worry too much about that, though, because ultimately you're going to be making a lot of new friends when you get there. People are going to invite you to participate in their adventures. Even if you're not good at making friends, when you walk onto the grounds at Bicolline, you have around 3,000 new friends on day one. All you have to do, your contribution to that, is to just say hi and introduce yourself. If all else fails, find me, this guy, and tell me what you're looking for. Assuming I'm capable of doing so, do not come to me at 6 o'clock in the morning after I've been drinking. I'll take you around and I'll introduce you to people who have a common interest with you. People who, if you express you want to do a certain thing, or whatever, or want to be a certain, like I want to be a Viking, I want to be a pirate, I'll take you to those people. I'll introduce you. You'll get along just fine. And that brings us back full circle, kind of to the cultural do's and don'ts. And this is another one that's it's very important. Be aware that many guild camps are considered private spaces. Don't just walk into someone's camp without permission. Bottom line is it's rude. And it can be basically considered a trespass. Form of trespass, at any rate. There's exceptions to this. Lots of groups have open camps, but as a first-timer, you need to know which groups those are and which groups those aren't. If you don't know, simple, introduce yourself, ask permission to enter the camp. I've never seen anyone turned away unless there's some sort of special event going on. So, as I said, I want to keep these relatively short. So I've kind of quickly gone over those questions. If those answers raised additional questions for you, let me know. The comment section is there. It's not just for saying first. I know somebody's going to do that now. Anyway, be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I will see you guys next time.